This is Average Joe Finances Podcast, Episode 10.
What we do every month is we have a monthly family meeting where we get together and we put whatever money is we decide to put in the pot. We have that already established. And so we have a set of bylaws that we work from. And in those bylaws, we try to follow those bylaws and then visit those bylaws every year or so.
All right, this is the final episode of the three-part series that we recorded with Eric Bowie. And in this last episode, we discussed the final three topics of the 7 topics that we originally planned to discuss. Now, 2 of these topics I found very interesting, and I think you guys are really going to find it interesting too. And that those are the voiceover work that he does. He does some freelance voiceover work. He gave us a YouTube channel to check out, not his, but one that he actually does the voice work for, and it was really neat, really cool stuff to check out. I'm going to make sure that link's in the show notes. The other thing he talks about might be controversial for some people, and that is pooling family money together. So, definitely listen, pay attention, because some of the things we talk about is what they use it for. And, for in his case, it's for family gatherings, or if there's a death in the family or someone's sick, they use it for bereavement purposes. But we discuss so many different ways that this kind of pooling of money with family can be used, or even with friends, even into the realm of real estate, where you can actually buy some rental property and have that rental property fund that account, that pooling account. So guys, you don't want to miss this one. Check it out. You're going to enjoy it, guaranteed.
Welcome to the Average Joe Finances Podcast. Are you trying to get out of debt, invest, or just not sure where to start? Then this is the place for you. We discuss different ways to get out of the rat race and build your wealth. Join us on this wild ride to financial freedom.
The Average Joe Finances Podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Do not use this for any real estate or investment making decisions. All views by myself or our guests are solely our own and do not reflect the opinion of our employers. Okay, hey, so the fourth thing that we were talking about here, that on the notes that you had sent me, was you're using LinkedIn to help advertise and build your business. Is that true? Can you talk a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Back around 2014, I was trying to make a decision on which one of the social media platforms I kind of attacked first. And I decided on LinkedIn. I had a buddy of mine that helped me put together a profile there and just begin using it to kind of build a name, a brand for myself in all the spaces that I was in. What I primarily do with LinkedIn now, and I've got over 21,000 connections on LinkedIn. And what I try to do with LinkedIn now is use it for bridge building, networking, getting to know people in certain specific areas. And I've always tried to hook up with people that were in the different specific areas where I was. If it was government contracting, it may be eBay space, it may be the voiceover space, which we'll talk about here in a bit. But I try to hook up with people in those areas in case I need something or someone I know needs something. And it's been an excellent platform for me. It's helped me not only grow my business, but also kind of get my brand out there as well as Smart Money Bro. So I've used it pretty much for that, and it's been a good. It's gone well for me. I haven't leaked over into Pinterest too much. I do have a Pinterest page called Smart Money Bro. But again, that's new algorithms and things I'll learn. We have a page and a group on Facebook called Smart Money Bro. The page is also Smart Money Bro. So feel free, if anyone wants to check us out on Facebook, we're there. And again, we're on Pinterest. And I just entered into the Twitter space not long ago, say a couple months ago, but just trying to spread myself out there, and of course leveraging social media. But the one thing
I do want to jump in real quick and just say that I'm glad you entered into the Twitter space, because that's actually how we linked up. So
exactly,
glad you did that, because that's awesome.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting here before you had I not entered into the Twitter space. So meeting good folks like Mike and just being able to network with people that are kind of also in the money space It's been rewarding. One of the things I do is I try not to be everything on every social media platform. So my followers on Pinterest is pretty small. I'm not on Instagram, but other places like LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, you can find Smart Money Bro. And feel free to hook up with me. Feel free to ask questions as well, because I don't mind just answering simple questions and helping people out. So I'm available. But LinkedIn's been good for me, and my followers or connections on LinkedIn continue to grow. And I've helped a lot of people through LinkedIn. It's been a wonderful resource for me, and it's probably my main source of networking for my businesses.
All right, awesome. So real quick, just to summarize on that, you decided to join LinkedIn back in 2014. And the reason why you joined LinkedIn was to build a name for yourself and build your brand, essentially. And you said you have over 21,000 connections currently. Is that true?
Yes, So over 21,000. The thing about LinkedIn was when I first joined LinkedIn in 2014, I was not Smart Money Bro at that point. And so what I did was on LinkedIn, I wanted to just have a social media presence. Prior to 2014, I was not on any social media. I kind of shunned social media, right? But I decided that, I do a lot of things professionally and have a lot of things to help and give. And so LinkedIn is one way of saying, hey, here's who I am to the world. Perhaps there's something I do or can do. And it was a way to build a network. And I thought that was important. I didn't become Smart Money Bro until I was sitting around with a buddy of mine in 2017, thinking about how can I take all the things I do and put them into one umbrella. And the one umbrella, the denominator was money. And so how could I reach people and help people around the topic of money? And so I developed the name of Smart Money Bro and said, hey, I got the domain and the website, and started writing blogs back in 2017. And since then, the blog has really taken off in terms of Smart Money Bro. And on the website of smartmoneybro.com is where I also offer some of the other services. I try to keep LinkedIn at this point focused on my 9 to 5 for the most part. Although I do mention some of the other things I do, I focus it on the government contracting. Not sure if that's a good segue into where you want to go next, but I try to focus it LinkedIn on the government contracting piece.
Yeah, and actually, I'd like to go ahead and segue into that because that was the next topic that we were going to talk about. So if you could, so I think it's awesome that you leverage LinkedIn as a way to work this next piece that we're going to talk about. So if you could, please explain to us what you do with government contracting.
So what I do is the government buys lots of goods and services from contractors, and I manage those contracts on behalf of the federal government. So for many years, I worked in construction, and in construction, the government would need to hire construction contractors and architect engineer contractors to come and design or come and construct whatever it needed. And so I would manage those contracts from cradle to grave, meaning I would do all the market research, go out and find the contractors, decide on what type of contract we use, because there's lots of different contracts, types of contracts to use, and then actually put those bids out on the street for contractors to actually bid on, evaluate those bids, award those contracts, and then manage those contracts for the government for the life of the contract. The contract might be a 2-year contract, a 3-year contract, a 5-year contract. I was responsible for managing that contract and then ultimately closing that contract out. So I've done that for about almost 13 years now for the federal government. I still do it. I've done it for a couple of different agencies. And if you go to LinkedIn and look up Eric Bowie, you'll find me, and you can kind of read the profile of what I do, but and the different agencies I've done it at. I do want to mention this because I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I also have a class it's a fairly inexpensive class, but it's through the website of the platform of Teachable. That's www.teachable.com. And if you go to Smart Money Bro on teachable.com, you'll see that I also help contractors learn the government contracting space, because there's a learning curve to learning how to do business with the federal government. And that's for anyone. I don't care if you make therapeutic shoes, or if you sell medical equipment, or if you have a construction contract. Whatever you may do, there's a good chance that the federal government is purchasing whatever you're selling. And so a lot of contractors don't understand how to learn how to do business with the federal government. So I have a course that I offer to folks and say, here's what you can do to learn how to do business with the federal government. I also offer monthly or coaching, one-on-one coaching about federal government contracting, teaching contractors how to tap into the $600 billion that the government does with contractors every year. And almost 120 billion of that is with small businesses. And so that's really important. How do you register to become a federal government contractor? How do you become a small business? How do you become a woman-owned contract? How do you get some of the certifications that the government gives out? Veteran-owned small businesses. How do you get into the 8A program and become do some business as a minority-owned contractor or business? So I teach you how to do all that type of stuff. And then what to do with your proposals. What are some things you want to do in terms of how are you putting together your proposals? How are you reading requirements from the federal government? These are all things that become a learning curve to small businesses and other businesses. And I help you with that. I have a small course, but I also do one-on-one coaching. So I do things on the personal finance side, but I also do things on the government contracting side, which can be a large learning curve for a lot of small businesses. But that's something else I do as well.
Yeah, actually, I want to say, from somebody, me being in the Navy, right, and I deal with contractors a lot. So the fact that you offer a course on that to help them, acclimate and learn the federal government side on how to do their contracts with the government, I can say that I appreciate you for that. Because a lot of times I've run into some contractors that that have never worked with the federal government before, and it gets a little bit crazy. Because a lot of times people don't realize you can't just nickel and dime the government the same way you would do if you were working on someone's house, right? That there's audits, there's other things that happen. So the fact that you help these contractors get into that space, and also being a contract manager, managing these from cradle to grave, definitely awesome. And I can say that I personally appreciate what you do for us, for the federal government.
Sure, you're welcome, man. No problem
Awesome.
at all. So I've done that for about 13 years now. Now I've worked for the federal government since 2002. I worked for Social Security Administration for about 6 years, but since about 2008, I think somewhere in 2008 or so, is when I started doing federal government contracting, managing contracts for the federal government. But definitely a space where a lot of people don't understand. And I'm here to say, okay, let me take that big jumbo of stuff and that big jumbo pot of acronyms and all that stuff, and let me break it down to you on how it really works. And I'm going to give it to you from the federal government standpoint, which you don't get very often.
So, hey, that's awesome. And you had mentioned something about the acronyms. I definitely want to say that in the Navy, we use a lot of acronyms, and I'm pretty sure that can get very confusing for people. So the fact that you help break that down is really awesome. So again, really appreciate that. I want to move on to our next topic here that you had sent to me, and that is how you actually got into the voiceover space. So, and you said you're actually bringing in about $400 to $600 per month just doing freelance voiceover work, and this really interests me. I have a nice mic, as you can see. I think it's pretty cool, and I'm very interested in how you do this. I have another friend of mine who recently got into being a professional voiceover person, and they actually do a lot of stuff with Marvel and video games and everything, and they do the voices for different characters, and I think that's really awesome. So the fact that other people can do it privately, especially like in their own home, is something that's very interesting to me. So I think I would appreciate understanding this and how you did it, and I think our listeners would as well. So can you dig in a little bit on that?
For the last, I'd say about maybe 8 or 9 years, maybe 10 years or so, I was the voice guy at my church. And so when it came to reading announcements and doing anything where a voice was required, my church would ask me if I would do it. They thought I had a pretty decent voice, so I said okay. And so for a lot of years, I've been and still am the voice guy at my church. And so that's kind of where I said, okay, I really enjoy this, something that I like. Again, back to what you enjoy and what you feel good about and like. So I said, how can I kind of venture out on my own and see if I can do this for other people? And so lo and behold, I just did a lot of reading, a lot of studying, a lot of YouTube videos, right? Just kind of learning the process and what it entails. Actually went out and got some coaching, and which is very important part of voiceovers. You can have the best voice, but if you're not able to bring that voice across on the microphone, then it's not going to matter how good your voice is. And so I decided to go out and rent, or not rent, but buy some equipment. So I have a closet right here in this kind of man cave space I'm in. I have a closet that is insulated. I've treated, and so I've gone out to some of the pay-to-play sites that are out there that are available for freelance work. And I've gotten some work, and I continue to get work on a regular basis. In fact, after we do this podcast, after I do a little bit of exercising and walking and eat a little bit, I'm going to do a couple of jobs that have come to me, freelance jobs that I do. One of them I do is if you go to YouTube on NBA Wow TV, all one word, NBA Wow TV, I'm their voice guy. So and I do NBA videos and so forth. And we got a YouTube channel that I don't run the YouTube channel. I'm just the voice guy. But that just gives you an idea if you're looking for some of the work that I do. But I enjoy it.
I just want to say that's really cool, and I'm going to go check that out. I definitely added that to the notes.
Yeah,
and then
cool.
I could probably see, you're definitely passionate about the NBA, which is awesome. But I still think Steph Curry is just gonna get right past you.
Yeah,
he's going to hit you with
Steph
one
Curry,
crossover, and that's it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have supreme confidence. I think I can guard him, but we won't talk about that. I think I'm able, if we can go by the old rules of playing defense on the perimeter that we did in the 80s and 90s, I think I could guard him. But
all right, I'm going to try to see if we could tag Steph Curry in this, get him to listen to this episode, and just, smart money bro, Eric Bowie is calling you out. He said he can guard you. Let's go. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, he's going to have a really good laugh at that. But no, he'd probably destroy me. But voiceovers has been great. It's fun. It's something that I do on the side. I'm still working on getting coaching and learning and so forth. It's kind of new for me actually to do as a side gig. But I enjoy it. I have fun with it. $400 a month, $600 a month. That's not a huge amount, but it's extra income. And if I ever had to scale it and so forth, I know what to do to scale it. But for right now, it's just extra income I enjoy on the side. Of course, always get a treated space in your room, in your house that's as quiet as possible. Get the right equipment. Get the right workstation. I use Adobe Creative Cloud. I use Adobe Audition. But get the right stuff and get as much coaching as you can. And in the next 6 months or so, my goal is to actually get a professional demo and then go from there and really start working. I have a website for that. It's ericbowiesvoice.com. And so I do have a website that I send people to look at some of the samples and things I've done. But I'm in the beginning stages of my voiceover stuff. I'm just learning. But it's fun, and it's a way to make extra money on the side while I actually learn. But it's been an adventure.
Yeah.
So I'll write a few blog posts about it.
What I really like about this is the theme for what you're doing hasn't changed, right? You're doing things that you enjoy and you're making money from it. So, I mean, is this really even a job for you? Like, you're doing these side gigs, you just enjoy doing it. Is it really even a job? When you get to do something that you enjoy this much and you're actually making a profit from it, to me, that's the biggest win you can have in life. I think that's really awesome. I'm definitely going to go check out NBA Wow TV. I think all my listeners should too as well. Yep. And I'm going to make sure I have that in the notes too. Let's take a quick break from today's episode to hear from our show sponsors. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mike Cav from Average Joe Finances. Just want to talk to you today about Prep Agent. If you're interested
in learning how to become a real estate agent and being able to pass the test on your first try, check out Prep Agent at www.prepagent.com. Use code AVGJOE, that's Average Joe, AVGJOE, to get an additional 20% off. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get back into it.
You're listening to the Average Joe Finances Podcast. Whether it's single or multifamily real estate, the stock market, or side hustles, we discuss it all. Strap in and enjoy the ride.
So I want to get to this final topic, and this one is, I think this one's going to be tough, all right, for some people out there, but it looks like it's something that works for you. And I want you to share with us on this final topic, which what you'd sent to me is pooling your family money, and how you've spent the last 5 years meeting with your family about once a month and just going over the benefits of pooling your money together. And you are currently writing a book about this. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's one of the areas that I think it is tough for some people to do. The thing that I'll kind of give the backstory of it. So about 4 years, I think about 4 years ago or so, just some members of my kind of immediate family, I'm talking brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest of five. We decided that, how can we have some extra cash for things that may be fun, things that may be, necessary things, bereavement, flowers to family in case something happens to our other family members, even giving something to, we have a lot of, I have nieces and nephews that were graduating from college and so forth. What can we do to pool our money together? And so, money works best when you're able to pull it together and pull it together. You can do a lot more when you actually bring your money with other people. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be pooling with family. It could be close friends and so forth. But I always caution people that, when money changes hands, it can change relationships. So you have to be careful about who you decide to pool your money with. And so, the beauty about pooling it with your family, at least certain members of your family, is that you're going to respect and love them regardless of what happens in terms of money, because it can change relationships. So I'm a guy that I don't believe in loaning money to family. Okay, I'm not a guy that likes loans and debts and things like that anyway, but I never loan money to family. My philosophy is I'm always going to give you what I can afford to give you. And so if you ask for $500 on a loan, I may be able to only give you $150. But what happens is my conscience is free, your conscience is free. I don't have to see you with the new Nike Air Jordans on, at the next family get together and wondering where's my $500, right? So it keeps the relationship on a level of respect and so forth. So I say all that to say, with pooling our money together, what we do every month is we have a monthly family meeting where we get together and we put whatever money is we decide to put in the pot. We have that already established. And so we have a set of bylaws that we work from. And in those bylaws, we try to follow those bylaws and then visit those bylaws every year or so, just to update it. But in the bylaws, we kind of run through what we plan to do with the money, what our roles are in terms of, I'm the treasurer, we have a president, a vice president, and those roles might change over the course of time. And of course, it's a very fluid situation, because things do change in people's lives and so forth. So we put our money together, we deposit our money, and we make decisions together about the money. We vote on what we have to do and don't. So we use kind of what you've probably heard of Robert's rules, where how many in favor, I make a motion and so forth. We kind of use a hybrid of that because we are family. One of the things that I didn't mention, that I sit on the Planning and Zoning Commission in the city I live in. And so in the Planning and Zoning Commission, those meetings are very, very formal, right? When our family meets, it's not quite as formal. So sometimes the meeting lasts 45 minutes or it lasts 2 hours, but we try to stay on tack. One of the things that it does, one of the benefits of pooling your family money and having a meeting is it allows you also to stay connected to your family, right? So there may be some times if you don't do that where you might not see your family for a couple of months, 2 or 3, 4 months or whatever. But if you make a purpose of meeting with them once a month, you're staying connected with them. And we always have an agenda for our family meetings where we follow the agenda. And one of the items on the agenda, my sister, she makes the agenda, but one of the items is, let's talk about new business. What's going on in your life? And so it gives us a chance to, on a regular basis, connect with our family that we don't always get a chance to do on our regular, hectic, busy lives. That's just one of the outskirts of the benefits, or one of the side benefits of just is keeping that connection. But the other benefit is, hey, you have a large pool of money to do things with as a family. It could be fun. You could now when you say, okay, we're going to do a cookout or a get together, we don't have to do anything with money. We just say, okay, we want to use $300 or $400 from there to do it. We got it. And so that's one of the benefits of it. And the last thing about this is that you can structure this however you want to structure it. You can choose however much money you want to put in the pot. You may say, hey, we want a really serious investment. All 10 people bring $200 and we collect $2,000 a month, right? We collect $24,000 a year. And you may want to buy an apartment building, or you may want to buy buy a business in 5 years. And that's fine. Or you could say, you know what, let's do $20 a month. Let's start people off where we are, and let's not make the focus the money. Let's make the focus the relationships. So the beauty of this is that you can do it and structure it however you decide. And so that's the good thing about it. And it could be extended family. It can be immediate family. It could start with 3 members. It could start with 15 members, whatever's comfortable. And so that's kind of what I think. And, I'm writing a book about it, just kind of our experience about it. And I hope to have that on Amazon in the next 3 to 4 months or so. But the beauty is that you can structure it how you want to structure it. It's been wonderful for us. It's worked out. We've always got an extra stash of cash in an emergency situation, family emergency situation, and our spouses are involved and so forth. So it's not bad. You can do it through Zoom if you want to do it that way as well. And now there's many ways to do it. There's Cash App and so forth. And you can always say, hey, we don't want to do cash in a bank. We want to open up a Charles Schwab fund or Vanguard and put our money. We want to invest our money right away. Lots of different caveats and variances in ways to do it. So, wow,
yeah, not what I expected with where this was going to go. That's really amazing. And what I like is that you guys have like a set of rules. It's not as formal as there's a gavel slamming down.
Right.
Old news, new news. What are the minutes from last meeting and stuff like that? I mean, it's informal. Of course, it's family, right? But the way it sounds like you have it set up, it's almost like a board of directors meeting, man. That's pretty cool. And you get everybody together and figure out what you're going to do with that money. Man, that must make family reunions pretty easy. You already know where you're going to pay for it from. I mean, that's fantastic.
If you think about it, Mike, you could, in your family pool that you pool your money, you could designate and say, hey, we want this money specifically, because my wife's family also does something similar. And their whole aim is for the family reunion. They meet to put money to the side for their family reunion. That's their main purpose. And so if that's what you want to do, that's cool too. Like I said, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. But what it does, it keeps your family intact. It keeps networking. It keeps everybody in communication with each other. And you're all working towards a shared goal and so forth. So there's so many benefits to it. Yes, there are some problems and issues you might run into. That's why one of the things I talk about in the book is being sure that the people that you invite into that group is people that you feel trust, that there's some trust and so forth. And that way you can kind of mitigate some of the problems that may come up if you don't invite certain people. And so there's some things to think about on the negative side, but there's so much positive, man. That's kind of what we kind of focus on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I like one of the things you were saying towards the end, even maybe pulling that money together and buying an apartment complex or some type of real estate, right? And now you can have this basically a passive income stream that's going into this family fund that you guys can then use for these events, and maybe even get it to the point where you guys don't have to fund it anymore. It's paying for itself. That's pretty awesome. I dig it. And when this book comes out, definitely hit me up, send me a message on LinkedIn or Twitter or something, and I'm buying it. Very, very interested in this. I think it's pretty cool.
I appreciate that.
I mean, I've heard of other people doing this. I heard about, there was a couple brothers that put their money together and they were buying properties this way, and they're making a killing, because when you pull the money together, it's a lot easier to get that down payment that you need for this property versus if you're trying to do it on your own, on one income. Right. So no, I think that's really awesome.
The other thing, Mike, I want to share this real quick. The other thing that it does is, if you have family members that don't have as much financial literacy as you already have, let's say you have family members that aren't really well versed in the different types of insurance, it allows you to be able to bring some education around financial topics to your family. Right. So perhaps you have a family that doesn't know much about investing. Okay, maybe you can have a session during your family meeting about investing, about the stock market, mutual funds, index funds, etc. And so you can bring some literacy to your family about finances in areas that they may not be well versed in. That's another benefit.
Yeah, I like it, man. And so with me living in Hawaii and the majority of my family's back in New York, because that's where I'm from originally, right? One of the things I liked about Zoom is we're able to get in touch with each other. But I think being able to have something like this where, we can all get together maybe once a month or something like that, just hop on a Zoom call and just talk, because a lot of times with my time in the military, you lose that closeness, because I've been stationed away from my family for the past 18 years. Right. So I think this is really neat, and I really appreciate you sharing it with us. This is good stuff. One of the things I want to talk about, since we hit all 7 topics, which is awesome, the things I normally ask, which I think we've answered this, right? Where I like to ask about your financial freedom journey and what kind of investments you're working with. We've talked about that. We've talked about how long you've been doing it. We've talked about what you enjoy about it. So you've hit all the wickets of the questions I like to ask. And you've kind of touched on this next one, but I'd like to get this all compact into one spot for our listeners. And that is, where can people find more information about you? Can you share with us your website and any social media platforms that you're on?
Okay. You can find me at www.smartmoneybro.com. All one word, smartmoneybro.com. On that website, you'll find my blog posts that you can sign up to and subscribe to and get the latest blog posts that I write. You'll also find some books that I wrote that are linked to Amazon on there as well. You'll also find my one-on-one coaching services that we talked about. They're on there as well. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me at Eric Bowie on LinkedIn. On Facebook, we've got a Smart Money Bro Facebook page, and we have a Smart Money Bro Facebook group. And then also on Twitter, I'm at Smart Money Bro 1, all one word, at Smart Money Bro 1 on Twitter. And I'm also I'm also Smart Money Bro on Pinterest as well. So you can find me pretty much all those spots, and you can reach out to me there as well. Any of those spots, feel free to contact me. I love to help folks and love to reach back out, so I'll always respond.
All right, awesome, fantastic. And hey, just so everybody knows, I'm going to have links to all of his website and his social media platforms in the show notes. Be sure to check them out. There you have it. This is Eric Bowie. I'm going to have all of his information. Like I said, this was a great interview. Eric, I really appreciate you coming out and talking with me and sharing your story, and I can't wait to share this with our listeners.
Mike, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you so much, man. The connection with you on Twitter has been fantastic. I think what you're doing is awesome. I appreciate you having me on. My final word to the listeners is, I came from nothing and have built myself up with just a few really smart decisions around money. I've made a lot of mistakes with money. And one of the ways that I help people is I share some of the things that I've learned about money over the years with others. So if I can do it, you can do it. Just a few smart decisions and you got it. And I can help you out and help you get through that. And again, Mike, appreciate you having me, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you being here and really appreciate your story. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's all we got. Hey, if you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to smash that like button and click subscribe.
Also, if you're listening to this as a podcast, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our newest episodes. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. All the links are in the description below.
Thanks for listening to the Average Joe Finances Podcast, your source for beating debt, saving money, and investing. Learn more at averagejoefinances.com.